It was a Thursday. That was a very typical day. Wasn't a day that I had any worries at all about her safety. I got a knock on my door about between 12:30 and 1 that night. There were 2 police officers at my door, and they said very directly, "Are you Corinne Cameron's mother? She's been in a serious accident. She's been ejected from the vehicle." The accident occurred in a rural area on a really sharp turn. Went over a ditch, through someone's front lawn, and landed.
I went like flying through the car, and I think I was in the driveway. I don't remember that much, but I can kind of remember like thinking that I was gonna die.
She came in with an ambulance. She was completely covered in mud from head to toe, except for 2 little places where the mud had been wiped from her eyes, and I could see all the bright eyeshadow that was underneath the mud. I remember her father and I being at the hospital thinking, what was it like for her at that accident scene? And was she alone, and was she scared?
A grandfather came.
He had been getting in bed that night and heard the car go through the air, and he heard it hit the tree. And he got out of his bed and he came down the road and he walked past Corinne initially.
He thought I was dead. So I said, "Sir, will you please hold my hand?"
He laid in the mud puddle with her. He's the one who wiped all the mud out of her eyes. He held her hand and he told her that everything would be okay.
It was really nice because I was definitely scared.
Just to know that she wasn't alone was enormously comforting for us. When we ended up in that trauma room with the IWK, there was an enormous sense of relief. We're in a terrible situation, but we were in the best place that we could be. Initially, the thoughts were that she had a lot of physical injuries, but her brain seemed okay. It looked like we were going to be out of the hospital in 10 days. But over time, her speech wasn't coming back like they thought it would come back. 6 days after the accident, they did another CT scan. They were prepping us for, well, maybe her traumatic brain injury is a little bit more severe than we thought. And that was kind of the news that we were prepared for. The surgeon came to the door of her room and she said to me, the results were not what we expected. She had had a carotid artery dissection, and between the time the first CT scan was taken and the second CT scan was taken, she had a major stroke. You know, initially we were told that she may never get better and that she may never live independently. The only hope that she had was that the right side of her brain would be able to learn some of the things that the left side of her brain did learn. We were paralyzed with the thought of this very happy, extroverted, outgoing teenager was now potentially never going to be able to communicate, and what that would do to her friendships and her relationships and her happiness. I couldn't function really thinking about that. So after a few days, I just stopped and I just started thinking about the moment that we were in. And then I started to do some research, started reading and understanding brain plasticity, and decided that if everything was uncertain, then we were going to act as if there was the most hope possible. When we started into the rehab, which is about 2 weeks after the accident, my favorite thing was how it was so tailored to her. So they learned her interests. They knew that she liked pink and she liked Barbie and she loved Taylor Swift.
They gave me a bracelet like Taylor Swift because I love Taylor Swift, and they're really nice.
We saw firsthand the difference in care that you get at the IWK. The head of rehab started wearing, a pink blazer when he would come see her. The school, the music therapy, the art therapy, all of those things are added extras over healthcare that make a difference in a kid who's recovering.
Sea whale.
Crocodile.
See a crocodile.
There you go.
Good night.
She has come incredibly far.
Put the yellow bear in front of the chair.
Corey had severe global aphasia, which is a communication disorder that affected her across all modalities of speech. And she also had apraxia. Even if she knew the word to say, she couldn't say it. She also lost all of the sensation on the right side of her body and a lot of her peripheral vision. She has come incredibly far. We just got back from a trip to Alberta where she gave a presentation on lessons from a teenage stroke survivor, and she was able to speak in front of 100+ people for almost 45 minutes.
When I ever do stuff like that, it makes my talking better and makes me more confident. Even if I mess up my words, it's not that big of a deal to me.
She's running track, she's running cross country, she went back to dance, and it looks a little bit different than it did before, but she did a solo less than 8 months after the accident. You wouldn't have known to watch her that she had all the struggles that she had.
I think I'm a better dancer because I worked hard, and I think my favorite is probably I can't say that. Musical theater. Yeah, which is kind of ironic because it's like the kind of dance where you're like talking, but those are my favorite because I think it's really fun.
It's important to her that other people learn from her mistake and wear their seatbelt.
I can't really change anything about what happened, but I want to talk about my story and my stroke and everything, and I want to help people.
I think that jumping back into her life and being brave in all those awkward, uncomfortable situations that she had to endure to get better is the reason why she is where she is. We're very lucky to have the IWK in our community. Corey working with the IWK together, they've been able to make significant improvements in all areas that she's been impacted so that she can go on to lead a life that's normal for her. Whatever she wants to do, we know that she'll work hard towards it and it'll be possible. And as long as she's happy, we're happy.